Hi, I'm Kate Presto and welcome back to Keeping It Simple. Today we're going to talk about how tax reform is impacting individuals. So, the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017, what everybody's calling tax reform, is the largest overhaul of the U.S. tax code since 1986. That's over 30 years, and as such, we have a lot to discuss. It's impacted individuals, businesses, big and small, and nonprofits. And today we're going to focus on how it's impacting individuals. So a good way to think about taxes is as a giant formula. Tax reform has impacted that formula, the basic formula, and what we're going to walk through are the major changes to that formula. These changes can impact some major decisions you make in your life, such as when to buy a house or if you really need to buy health insurance, what's the best for your situation. Now, the burning question is in your mind is probably, are you going to owe more or less? After this video, you should have a better understanding of what direction you're heading in, how it impacts other important life decisions, and be able to understand your tax return better when you do file. So let's jump in and talk about the major changes to this tax formula. So overall, tax rates have dropped, and they changed the brackets upon which those tax rates apply. In general, different amounts of income are taxed at different rates, and the tax rates are lower and the brackets are a bit more forgiving, so you can make more money and be taxed at a lower rate as compared to prior years. So for anybody working as an employee, you should have seen your take-home pay change early last year, maybe February or March time period. So throughout the year, you should have been seeing some of the impacts of tax reform. This is really important to keep in mind because when you file your taxes, it may not look like you paid less, or you may be surprised by your refund or by how much you owe, but it's not the whole impact of tax reform. You've got to look at how much you were withholding over the year and the end result. So just be a little patient as we work through the formula here. But just know that throughout the year, you're probably withholding less taxes, and your paycheck probably saw a little bump at the beginning of the year. So we're going to go into that formula and some of the calculations that are actually done on the tax return. So a few items went up and a few items went down. So we're going to talk first off about the standard deduction. So a standard deduction is just basically a portion of your income that the IRS says we're not going to tax. This is really important because with tax planning, a lot of people think about, should I take the standard deduction or should I itemize? Well, what is itemizing? Itemizing is when you take certain tax deductible expenses and you add them up. And if those exceed the standard deduction, you're going to itemize. You're going to do whichever one is in your best benefit. So with tax reform, since they doubled the standard deduction, it's less likely that you'll benefit from itemizing. And this has a lot of impacts as far as if you want to buy a house, because some of the itemizable expenses are things such as real estate taxes and mortgage interest. So it really makes a big difference, especially if you live in a state that charges like a state income tax, about how tax reform impacts you, because for a lot of people, they're not itemizing anymore. It's more in their benefit to take the standard deduction. Now, on the other hand, first twist, there's no more exemptions. So an exemption is based upon the number of people, number of dependents living in your household. And it was kind of similar to the standard deduction, but there was the multiplier based upon the number of people. Well, since they doubled the standard deduction, they got rid of exemptions. And so how this impacts you and your household, you've got to go through the formula. They offset each other for the most part, but if you have a big family, it may not seem like it's in your benefit. However, there's one more major twist to this, which may make it overall better for you. The next big change to the formula is the child tax credit. They doubled the child tax credit, and similar to how they changed the tax rate brackets, they also changed the threshold at which you can claim the child tax credit. So if you make a lot of money, the credit's going to phase out, and you're not going to get to claim it. So more people are able to take advantage of the credit since they raised that income threshold. when you're looking at the formula, it's just another twist, and it's really helpful for families I've been seeing with my tax prep business. The last major change I want to talk about is the healthcare penalty. The shared responsibility penalty, starting in 2019, they've stripped that out. So if you don't have health insurance in 2019, you're not going to see a penalty when you file your 2019 taxes. For 2018, it's still in place. So if you didn't have health insurance in 2018, you're still going to see a penalty on your tax return. So overall, there's a lot of changes from tax reform, fundamental changes to how it impacts individuals. For most of the returns that I've been seeing, just from my practice, what I've been seeing is most people are not itemizing. It's more beneficial for them to take the standard deduction. That's surprising to a lot of people, but hey, it works in their benefit. And also I've seen people's overall tax rate, their effective tax rate, how much taxes they're paying compared to their total income from 2017 to 2018. I've been calculating what the changes are, and I have seen most people's taxes go down. A big driver of this is probably just because they lowered the rates, and then with everything else, the standard deduction, exemptions, child tax credit, healthcare penalty, it just gets messy. But in general, they lowered the rates, so most people are paying less in taxes. You probably saw a change in your paycheck if you're an employee early in 2018. So your refund or your amount owed when you file your taxes maybe not be in line with prior years, but still you've got to do that calculation to look at your total taxes paid compared to your income in order to really get an understanding of how tax reform impacted you. If you have any questions on doing that calculation, I'm happy to help. So quick summary, rates are down, the standard deduction is up, exemptions are gone, but the child tax credit is up, and the healthcare penalty is 0 starting in 2019. Alright, so there's no way to cover all of the tax reform changes in one video, even if it's 5 hours long. So if you have questions, please comment below. I'm happy to help. I'm your resource, so ask any questions you have, especially if you've itemized in the past and are interested in maybe if you still can. Reach out. I'll talk to you more about all the changes that happened with those. And let's have a conversation about how tax reform has impacted you, what you like, what you don't like, what questions you still have. And if you need any help with filing your taxes or calculating your effective tax rate, send me an email, fill out my contact form, and I'll be happy to help. As an extra bonus, I've created a download covering the major changes for individuals and small businesses. The link's below, so download the resource, and if you would like, sign up for more information via our newsletter, and you'll get more resources like that as we create them. It's pretty helpful, so I encourage you to check it out. Next week, we're going to talk about how tax reform has impacted small businesses. With all the changes, they definitely saw some too, and they're seeing lower taxes as well. We'll review the biggest changes similar to how we did it this week, and we're also going to talk about one big brand new deduction, which is really exciting. So if you're an entrepreneur, be sure to check it out. So thanks for attending. If you liked this vlog, like it, and subscribe to my channel. For more information, you can sign up for my newsletter, download the tax reform guide, or follow me on Facebook where I post a lot of tips and information. And for inspiration and motivation from bosses of all kinds, look me up on Instagram. I have a lot of fun sharing inspo. So thanks again for watching the video. I look forward to seeing you again next week. And in the meantime, don't hesitate to reach out and take care. You know I'm recording right now, right?
I have no problem with taking care of my mom.
Oh. Ow!
Boyfriend puts.